because you already know, right? The legend himself type of guy. The leader of leaders type of guy. Coach Mark Diadama. T.O.B. W3 Elite. Well back, baby. Good morning, guys. Good morning. So today I'm only going to have a minute or two because we already have people in the next room. But today is the kickoff of Genesis 2025, and one of our slogans is "Things will never be the same," because Genesis, as you guys know, is the beginning of something new, and whether biblical or not, the word Genesis is a new beginning. So I believe that this year in 2025, we're entering a new beginning, and that our company is going to transcend to new levels. So I'm very excited about this year, and that's why this is one of our key slogans for the next, what's today? Thursday. So we have 7 days to next Thursday, then we got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's 11 days. We have 11 whole days that I'll be with all kinds of great leaders. And if you're in this room and you're not getting to go to Genesis for some reason, then you want to make sure that you don't miss the huddle on April 11th. It's going to be the day before the Momentous event, and you don't want to miss that event. Because, of course, you will have your tickets to Momentous. I'm guessing you'll have your tickets to Momentous, and you'll be in New York, New Jersey for the Momentous event. But the day before April 12th is the event called the Huddle. And the Huddle is more important in some ways than the Momentous event. Because the Momentous event is for everybody to learn and get energized and excited. But the Huddle is to teach the main leaders in the business how to build the business to the new levels. So you always want to be in those meetings, and it's not hard to get to that. All you have to do is get to become a profit sharer, and that you can do in, 6 weeks, let's call it. Let's say 8, let's say 10, just being a little realistic with, what work you'll need to do and the steps you'll need to take to get to that place. Maybe 10 weeks. Maybe it shouldn't even take that long, but let's say 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks at most. But then you're there. And then once you're there, now you would start getting yourself into the room with people that are making $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a week, $50,000 a week. And so that's the room you want to be in, because the rule for success is that, your network is your net worth, and who you surround yourself with is who you become. Put 5 chickens in a room, you'll be the 6th. Put 8 drug addicts in the room, you'll be the 9th, if you're in that room with them, if you share that room with them. Put 10 people in the room that are making $100,000 a month, you'll be the 11th person. So this is wisdom. You have to figure out, how do you get to the room where these people are making $40,000 a month, $80,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $1 million a month. Check, say check if you receive it. Does that make sense? Yes, positive? Positive. Okay, because that's the rules. That's how it goes. That's how this works. You have to take that slogan and make it internalized in your life. Like, things will never be the same in my life. And you want to start to feel like that every morning you wake up. Like, things will never be the same. From today forward, things will never be the same. I'm a new person. Today is new. If anyone has ever read The Greatest Salesman in the World, which I know none of you have because it takes 10 months to read it, and I know none of you have invested that investment. I just know you haven't. But I challenge you to do it. I always challenge people to do it, and still no one does it. It's always a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge. And still, for some reason, people just don't take the time to read what I'm telling you to be one of the most important books there is. Some of you are new, so you may have never heard about the book, but those that have been around, they heard about the book. And they still have not taken to the challenge. So a new challenge here today. It's a new year. Read The Greatest Salesman in the World. And you could read it in one day. But if you follow what they call the prescribed manner of reading, it will take 10 months for you to read the book. Because you have to read one of the scrolls 3 times a day for 30 straight days, and then you go to the next scroll. So that is a 10-month process. Okay, and I did that 3 times in my life. And the first scroll of this wisdom of the 10 scrolls is called Today I Begin a New Life. That's the first scroll. And that's a wisdom that you get imparted on you that you begin to live with. And then it says, today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which grown too long, and suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity, being mediocre. Today I am born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. Today I will pluck grapes from the wisest and tallest vines in that vineyard. I may get one word wrong there. For they were planted by the wisest of my generation before me, the generations before me. So the today I begin a new life theory is something that you want to start adapting today. What is today? I'm serious. It's Thursday. Friday. I'm coming away from the road. I don't even know what days things are anymore. And no, I really don't care. That has no relevance to me. Only relevance to the days are if the calendar pops and tells me today I'm supposed to do something because it's the prescribed day. But outside of that, it doesn't matter whether it's Thursday or Monday or Sunday, all the same stuff to me. Because people say, well, what about the weekend? Well, if I want to take off Tuesday and Thursday, then I take off Tuesday and Thursday. That's the new weekend. If I want to take off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, January, February, April, March, June, and February, I got it. So it doesn't matter anymore. Those things are relevant when you don't own your time and you have to stick to the script of something, which I had to do for a long time so that I can free up my time. That's where this step number 7 comes into play, that I was willing to do the things then that most human beings would not be willing to do, so I could afford to do the things now that most human beings would not be able to afford to do, Like you guys see me buy this yellow Lamborghini. I told you guys last year I was going to buy it. Some of you guys just don't, everything I say I'll do, for the record, excluding none. I'm always going to do what I say I'm going to do. And that's what a true man is. And I believe it's no different for a woman. That's what a true woman is. But I can only speak for a man because there's only 2 genders, just in case. Just for the record. I don't know if anybody was confused about that. A lot of confusion. Only in this country too, because I've just been to 3 other countries. They have no confusion about the things that America has confusion about. Only America is confused, for the record. Everywhere else got things very streamlined. You couldn't go to Africa and say that. Right? You know what? Can I tell a joke? This is funny. I went, because in the Muslim countries, they have the women line up on the security line on this side and the men line up on the security line on this side. So I went up to what is RTSA in Egypt, and I said, hey man, what if I told you I identify as a woman and I want to line up over there? He said, oh, it'd be very difficult, my friend. Very difficult. I said, but what if I said I want to do that? He said, oh, please don't give me a headache. What is that? He said, it would be very difficult. Very difficult. I have to crack it up. Oh, man. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that stuff. But, so, like, when I got started in the business, I had no automobile. I didn't even have a car, And then the first car that I got in the business was I bought from my manager for, I think, $400 or something. And it was a Honda Civic hatchback, sky blue, rusted up, little. I feel like I could pick it up. And, I drove around in that. And today you'll see me buy that new Lamborghini, but I'm going to drive that 40 times in a year. It's in New York. It's like 40 times I'll drive that. And it's paid cash, so they're never going to come and get it from me. You're never going to see them like, oh, I heard Mike lost his. No, that's not happening, right? I say that because, what looks big, we make small. And when I was a rookie, and I remember being in every one of your footsteps, it just seemed, everything seems so big, but I want you to make the things that are really big in your mind, I want you to make them small. That's another piece of wisdom for you this year. Because you could, and you can make things easy. Last night I was studying with Kevin a whole new stream of income that I'm gonna make, you know, another $50 million with. And I'll just do it. You heard me say it, right? So I'll do it. Because that's what I do. I do what I say I'm gonna do. And I take the things that seem to be really big and I make them small. And as I do it, I'll still outwork everyone in TOP. Still. So I won't lack in anything I do in TOP. I'll just get more efficient and work harder. Make no excuses and take the things that seem to be really big and make them really small. So you guys already got a lot of wisdom here today. Here's more wisdom. Some of you are just standing and you're watching a movie right now. Some of you are taking the video. Please tag me if you put anything on IG later. And you're taking a video. Cool, that's good. At least you could go back and recollect it. Others of you are just watching a movie. Now when I say this, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable for you for a minute because you're going to feel like, damn, that's me. Because you're not taking any notes, you're not learning any. Now you might say, well, I'm a good learner. And you may be. I am, so I believe maybe that could be true for you. You could just be locked in, really listening right now, and you're registering. But, I mean, you know, I'm older than most of you. I'm 47, and in my years of living, I learned that we just go on, and then 3 days and 6 days later, we just start releasing certain things that we put into our brain. Some things stick. Like, oh yeah, I remember when Mike told that story, or Mike said, you know, okay, big, small, okay, you'll remember a few keys. Like, some things may stay with you forever from today, but you won't remember it all. So I recommend that when you come into a room and you have these coaches and these leaders imparting this information to you, this education, you listen. Because the number one way that you go from lost, scared, scarce, poor, and all these kind of things, to successful and abundant and winning and growing is through education. What's the Bible say? Why would the people perish?
Lack of knowledge.
Right? Lack of knowledge. So, you know, and you know, whether, you know, you're a Bible person or not, there's obviously great wisdom in the Bible. I think every major group of humans accept that at this point. I don't think anyone doesn't accept that. Muslims accept that. Jewish people accept that. I mean, even if a person was an atheist, if they had any seek for knowledge, I would imagine that they would think that that book had knowledge. I would think that they thought that book had knowledge. But, you know, I guess the people that don't think it has knowledge are the dummies. And those are the people I don't want to associate myself with anyway. Because dumb just means that they're dumbfounded, which means that they cannot connect to information because they're just always like, you know, and you know, you meet people like that. Sometimes you have somebody, server at the restaurant, and you wonder, have you wondered if one of your servers was alive recently? Because yesterday I had a server and I was wondering if she was alive. I just didn't know. I was like, you know, is she actually breathing? You know, because she was just like, and she said, I don't know. And you know, another thing, we went to Greece, and here's the thing I want to tell you guys here today. So I'm off that topic on the big stuff, right? I'll tell you one or two things about now sales and business as you go into 2025, right? So the big stuff, right? If you don't have, okay, let me end on the big stuff, right? If you don't have your ticket for Momentous, you have to buy it. You have to get committed. You have to make your small little $200 purchase and get your plane ticket to New York or Jersey early, so you're not, the date's already locked in. We already said the event will be somewhere in northern New Jersey. You know, it's all one region. Speak to the guys that come from New York originally. They'll help you, or some guys are living over there. Get your stuff early, get your stuff cheap, get your stuff now. Don't be a last minute kind of person, because how you buy is how you sell. And you want to know that you don't want to be waiting on everything, because it's a disease called procrastination. So you don't want to be this big procrastinator on things. And so get your TOP University. There's no better investment in TOP than TOP University. We just put 5 or 6 new courses, a new blog, a new article from me. There's too much information on there. You've got to take one of the trainings and study it probably 5 or 6 times for you to get it all absorbed. So, you just couldn't study enough. I think 30 minutes to 1 hour a day, 30 minutes minimum every night. If you're a tired person at night and you kind of start to doze, then do the morning, and every single day, 7 days, no fail, you gotta study. You gotta study, okay? Because the lack of education is where our people will perish. So you have to have the knowledge, you have to have the education, you have to understand things, okay? And so, besides that, big things, right? Get yourself into the profit share like we talked about. Get yourself to the huddle like we talked about. Get yourself in all the rooms with the partners. Get ahead. Don't just be in this business to make the money from the field. It's great. You can make good money. You can make really good money depending on what product and campaign. But where the real money in the industry is having a business. At one point, I started this business just like you. I had an 8th grade education, never had a job before this, had a mother and father that didn't do the right things. Father was a lifetime criminal before he died. He was a predicate felon, went to jail 3 different times. The 3rd time he went and was locked up for 16 and a half years. My mom and dad divorced early. Both of them got hooked into drugs. My mom lives a great life today, a very healthy, clean life, but back in that day she was, doing the wrong stuff. I grew up in a house that was ridden by crime, drugs. My dad beat my mom, domestic violence, every day. I'm talking like, maybe he gave her a day off. Maybe he gave her a day to rest. And then beat her again. So that's what I watched growing up. I was on my own, technically, since 10 years old, because they were out for months in a row. We used to have to go, me and my twin brother and the partner of TOP is in the next room. We'd have to go steal food, which I don't steal. Lying and stealing became something that I made a vow to myself that I wouldn't do from probably 8 years old. The first time I stole, I got caught in a store called McCory's. It was a 5 and 10 store, which they used to call these things were 5 and 10, so they were like penny stores today, or Walmarts today. And I stole the Milky Way just because I wanted it. I was just the little boy, I didn't even know. I knew better, but I just was like, oh, I don't have any money, but I really want this candy bar. That was it. And then the security guard grabbed me and said, take that out your pocket. And I felt so embarrassed, and they called my mom to come and pick me up. And I remember walking home that day feeling like that thief that I was, and I said to myself, I'll never steal again. And that was it. I never stole again. Like that, like it's easy for me. You know what I'm saying? I remember sitting in Charles Park in Queens, New York, and I smoked the first pull of a cigarette. And I was choking, I was like, who does this? And I was like, oh, I'll never smoke this again. This is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And many other things like that, where, you can just say, okay, this don't work for me. I don't want to do this, and you don't have to do that anymore. I proclaim, I declare, right? I prophesize over your lives that today you'll make the decision and say, I won't be broke no more. I won't be average no more. Now, some of you may say, well, I'm not broke. Broke could be a state of mind, or you could think, okay, broke is like, to me, broke is, we're talking money now, not mindset. We're just talking money now. Broke is you're not rich. So to me, because I look at it like, if you're like, well, I have enough money to pay my bills the next 2 weeks, so you're 2 weeks away from being broke again, you're broke. You know what I'm saying? You're just a little ahead of the game, If you're the type of person where if it was a holiday or the payroll in the company or the client pushed back the payroll, like that happened 2 months ago with the cell phones, I think it happened once or twice or so, and they had to push back that payroll 2-3 days, and you're dying at that time, you're chomping at the bit, you're calling your manager, you're saying, what's going on? I need that payroll. And they're like, it's gonna come in 2 days, you're fine. Plus your contract says that it doesn't need to come at that time, that it can come, but I didn't even read my contract. Well, that's a whole nother story. But the moral of the story is, like, you're there and you're like, oh, I need it. That means you're broke. Like, you have to get that money right there, because if you don't, you're gonna need, you're not gonna, how are you ever gonna be able to go so far ahead in success if you're so far behind in even just paying your bills? So, and then some people, they'll complain, but they'll only work 4 days a week. They'll complain, but they'll only work till 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock on the field. And then they got all these other excuses as to why they can't get it done. This is the reality. So One or two more things. So in Greece, man, they had such great service. They really, really just were service oriented. They were calm.